Virgin Islands fishing and going to bring back some fantastic stories. I already know it. Filling in for her is our co-hostess with the mostest, Ellie Mae Lawton. Ellie, what's happening?
Hello, Joel.
The chefery.
The chefery.
Chefery is in the house.
The chefery is in the house. Let's not forget that this classically trained French chef is going to be talking culinary later in the show, Jess. I'm pretty jacked about that.
I'm
And
not going to be speaking in French, though.
why not? Before the show, you said you are taking French lessons.
I am.
How are you taking those French lessons?
On an app.
Which
On
app?
my
Which
phone.
app are you using?
Babbel.
All right.
I actually
Okay.
really like
All
it.
right.
It's super challenging. I mean, French is very challenging.
How much of it can you speak now?
I can tell you in Spanish a little bit.
You're
You
taking
can tell
Babbel
him
in
in
French.
Spanish how little you've learned in French.
I hope the folks at Babbel aren't listening right now.
Not
First of all, you know,
Listen, I'm new to it, and French is really freaking hard. Sorry, Jess.
Thanks for
Is
censoring
French?
French.
Hey, that was my French.
Is French très mal? No, that's very
See.
bad, right?
Yeah.
Très mal. But you have
Muy
to.
mal.
You know,
That's Spanish.
Muy mal is Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay, so you clearly speak a little Spanish.
I speak Spanish, yeah. See.
Okay, we can't go any further because I know he's starting to turn red.
Yeah,
He wants
I
to
think
chip in on this
I feel him
show.
getting angry.
Mike Kretschmerr, not only the Nice Guys from Nice, our beef man is in the house tonight. He's also the guy who fills in for me pretty much. And Mike and I have hunted together for 2 decades at least. We've been hunting together a long time. But I want you. Do you speak a foreign language, Mike?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
That's pretty good. I
There.
speak German. He said, right?
Yeah.
Sprechen.
I think
Kind-
so.
Kein.
I don't know. It's been a minute.
Hey, you should get Babbel.
The most of clearly by the amount of French that Ellie speaks, you should not get Babbel because can you say a sentence in French?
Stop putting me on the spot. Bonjour, ça va?
Okay, now wait a minute. You and Danielle and Jess and you guys constantly put me on the spot. Why can't Jess is laughing back
Jess,
there in
back
the
me up here.
fishbowl. They put me
Give my
on
back,
the
girl.
spot all the time. Why can't we put you on the spot?
Show us what you've been learning, Ellie.
I just said
Oh.
one. I said bonjour, ça
That's
va?
not
So, how long have you been learning this?
Like 3 weeks.
Okay, well then,
Shouldn't you be able to
Super
say like
what
fresh.
are a couple words you've learned aside from bonjour?
Stop, you guys. This is very nerve-wracking.
I remember the German from 8th grade.
You do?
Do you speak a foreign language, Jess?
Ken met about the vet.
What?
Wait, hold on. Is that Norwegian?
I was just gonna say Norwegian.
No.
Sounded like.
Wait a minute, say it again.
Ken met about ivrit.
Whoa, that's really good, whatever it is.
Fleet. You had
Think about my ethnicity and my culture,
Is
and
that-
you'll get it.
Hebrew.
That's Hebrew.
Ah,
What?
second guess.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Jess, do you have Babbel too?
Oh my gosh, that's
funny.
clearly not because she can actually speak a
That
little
was
bit of
really.
it.
That's really cool.
That is really cool. In fact,
That sounded beautiful.
what I like is synergy when things come together. Babbel, the app, is named after the story of the Tower of Babel in the Bible, and Bible was written in Hebrew, and she spoke Hebrew. So
Aw,
it's all
see?
connected.
It's all
See how
connected.
everything is connected?
Next
All
time
comes around.
I'm on the show, I'm going to speak only French, so I might not talk a lot.
Really?
But I'm good. Yeah,
but what
that's
you
going to be
say
my
is
goal.
going to be in French.
Yes, that's my
next
goal.
week. That will be the fastest fluency in any foreign language
gonna blow
I've
your
ever heard.
minds.
I don't doubt that you're capable of it. Anything in life you set your mind to, you can have. I
How
want to
many
ask.
listeners will know French when she talks in it, though?
Not many. We'll just use Google Translate for those folks. Jess, I'm curious about this though. I want to know something intriguing to me that is common to French or that's used in French is the trill of the R on the
But it's
back,
at the back
of
of
the
the
throat.
throat, not the
yes,
front.
yes.
Yeah.
So that is that the same R in Hebrew? I thought I noticed a trill in the back of your throat on one of those.
Yep.
I think that is the hardest thing. I mean, look, conjugating and all that is difficult in French, just as it's difficult in any foreign language. But I think one of the hardest things about French is the R in the back of the throat. I mean, you can do the R, and when you speak Spanish, it's in the front. Gracias.
Oh, and you do both, so you can
Pero.
flip between the two.
Yes, I can.
He's super talented.
I knew it wouldn't take long before they'd start making fun of me. That's okay.
Okay, you guys, I can tell you what my name is.
What is it?
Je m'appelle Ellie. Is that
Very
right?
good. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, my name is Ellie. Je m'appelle Joël. What's your name, Mike?
Mike.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I'm going to learn how to say beef guy in French.
All right.
Beef guy.
Beef
I think
guy.
it's like beef ghee.
Hey,
But there's a whole bunch of extra vowels in there.
It probably is.
Senor
All right,
Carne.
here's we're gonna be able to say one. Let's each come back next week with a sentence about hunting or fishing or eating in a foreign language. How does
Okay.
that sound, Jess? You in?
Sure.
Mike,
All right.
I don't know if you'll
If-
be here
if I'm
next
here.
week or not.
Homework.
If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
here,
I don't know if I'll be here after this situation.
Well, you have a week to learn.
I'll be studying Spanish for the next 10 days.
Spanish.
I thought you said French.
Oh, yeah. I'm learning French. I was thinking about his Spanish name.
Listen, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, Allie. Have you
Okay.
been drinking before the show?
I was drinking water.
Oh.
She got those 0-0
I got
rattlers.
this Mountain Valley.
She's drinking a 0-0
I was
Rattlers,
hitting
which,
up the Rattlers.
by the way, is the fastest growing market in beer in the United States right now is 0-0 zero alcohol beer.
It's good stuff.
That makes me very excited.
Joel, you're a trendsetter.
I don't know about that, but I haven't drank for 14 years, so I drink these 0-0 Rattlers, which
They're
is
delicious.
they are delicious.
Joel, I'm going to give you a compliment right now, so I need you to write this down.
Holy cow! Get out the calendars, everybody.
You introduced me to the Rattlers that I drink, and I absolutely love them.
Yeah, they're fantastic. You know what we need to talk about though? We need to get back on the weekly Wisco train.
Yeah.
Because I have one that doesn't fit into the traditional category of hunting, fishing, or eating. Really, my life can be boiled down to the trifecta: hunting, fishing, eating. And this one doesn't fit into it, but I think it's an area of Wisconsin that sometimes gets overlooked. So what my weekly Wisco is, the sunrises and the sunsets of this past week in the colder weather were unbelievable.
Oh, yes.
And the moon.
Yep.
So beautiful.
My goodness. This moon, it was bright red and full tonight. It was coming up at the same time the sun was setting on the opposite side. So you had the sun setting in one direction and this glorious full moon in the other, and it spelled peace. It gave me zen. I don't even know what zen actually is, but it gave me some zen. That's my weekly Wisco. What do you guys got?
My weekly Wisco is, well, the 3 H's are my favorite: horses, hunting, and hiking. And I chose hiking this week. I went for a lovely, cold, sunny day hike in the Southern Kettle off the Ottawa Trail.
What? Okay, tell folks if they don't know where that is. Can anyone do it? Can anyone go and use it as public ground?
Yes, public.
So
beautiful.
where is
miles,
it? Where do
miles.
you go? Where do you park? What's
so
out there?
There's the Scuppernong Loop. So this is in between like Eagle and Dousman area, off of ZZ, I think it is.
Okay.
So there's the Scuppernong Loop, and then just, what would that be? Just east of there is the Ottawa Trailhead, and you can park at either one. And there's tons of trails there in the woods, out in the open fields. It's beautiful.
Wow.
And
Winter-
they also release pheasants in that area.
They
do
certainly
Yeah.
do. So you will see pheasants. There's hunters in there. I ride horses
You
on
can
those
ride
trails.
horses on those
Yes,
trails?
yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
Yes. It's beautiful. I love hiking in the winter.
Huh.
It's very relaxing.
Well, you know, the way to combat being cold outside is do some physical activity. So
I was just going to say, my hiking in the winter is dragging a sled across the lake and drilling some holes and
you know
pole
what?
hopping.
that's great hiking too.
I think
Yeah.
people completely underestimate the great ways to get exercise in Wisconsin.
Oh, let
What's
me
your
tell you.
weekly Wisco,
Well,
Mike?
mine was I was up north this weekend with a bunch of friends, and we were ice fishing. And my one friend's his wife is not a big into the fishing scene. She came out, drilled a hole, put her line down there, and just started fishing. And I'm hole hopping, trying to find fish. She ended up catching more fish than the rest of us combined.
Just stay
Yeah.
in
Just
one
stay
Way
in
to
spot.
go,
one
girl.
spot.
Well, I have found, or it's my belief, that in a bowl-shaped pond or lake, even those schools of fish swim kind of in circles. So
Correct.
it's like once you hit them, you'll hit them for quite a while. Then they kind of pass you
Yep.
by, and then they'll swim around the perimeter and kind of come
Yep.
back. Because when you're ice fishing, and for those of you who are not big ice fishing people, one of the toughest things about ice fishing is that you have to find the topography one miniature hole at a time.
Right.
Topography is the wrong word. What is the word for the bottom of the lake? The
Contours.
contours. Sure, that works.
I mean, but if people at home don't know, is so much advanced technology now
Yeah.
with the sonars, and they have
sure.
side imaging forwarded, all the different stuff. So it's becoming a lot easier, but it also has a big effect on the checkbook. So if you're just an average, want to try it once or twice a year, you're not going to spend that kind of money.
If
And I
you
don't.
want to try it once or twice a year, find a friend who's serious about
Yep.
it and ask them to go. Cook them dinner.
Yep.
Bring some beers along for them. Whatever
Yep.
you
Bring
need
some
to do.
snacks on the
Bring
ice.
Yeah.
snacks on the ice.
And it's fun to take the kids. Ice fishing is a great pastime in this state, and
And
anybody can do
it's
it.
fantastic.
And you can do it for very little. I mean, you
Yeah.
can go get an ice rod at Dick Smith's for, literally $10 or less
Right.
with a reel on it.
Yep.
Get yourself some wax worms. You're going to catch fish.
Yeah.
Get a bucket,
Yeah.
sit
You're
out on
going
the
to
ice and catch fish.
Yeah, Jess,
It's a lot of fun.
Producer Jess, what's your weekly Wisco? Or am I catching you off guard here?
Mine is also the moon.
I'll
Last
take
night,
it.
my dad sent me a text and he said, when you finish up your show, go outside. Jessica's moon, which is what he's always calls it, because
Cute.
I've always loved the moon since
That's
I was a little baby. He's like,
precious.
Jessica's moon is beautiful tonight. Go out and look at it.
love that.
just
It has
gave me
been
chills.
so close. It looks like you can almost reach out and touch
You
it the
could
last couple.
see
It's
the
I think you
sea
could
of
lasso it.
tranquility on it with the naked eye, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man, what an awesome show. I can't wait. We are going to talk about food that Chef-erie Ellie Mae Lawton made out of venison. That'll blow your mind. And
Hold on. Audition is doing a thing. All right, let's try that again.
we got lucky living in Wisconsin. What a great song by the King. One of his kind of forgotten numbers a little bit. My name's Joel Kleefisch. I have the pleasure and honor of coming to you from Civic Media Studios on the show Raised in Wisco. This is a show about how to use Wisconsin's outdoors, from hunting to fishing to foraging, gathering, sideways bananas, canoeing, kayaking, mountain climbing. That's what I call a kayak, by the way, a sideways banana. What an awesome time to be a Wisconsinite. Yes, we are in the doldrums of the cold of winter, but that does not mean there's not plenty to do. Sitting alongside me, filling in for the great Danielle Fairman, is Ellie Mae Lawton. Great to
Bonjour.
have you on the show. Bonjour. Look at that. Wow, just like that. She picked up her French. If you didn't hear us talking about it, Ellie was saying she's taking French lessons from Babbel, the app. And we put her on the spot. She couldn't come up with a sentence, but she came.
Whoa, yes,
came
I
right
did.
Oh, yeah, you did. Je m'appelle Ellie. That's right. You did. My bad. I stand corrected,
Gosh.
Marty. I mean, Ellie.
Oh my god! You know what? I gotta punch out. I'm gonna go find some food and sit in a dark corner.
Mike Kretschmerr, the guy who sits in the hot seat when I am not able to do so, is here with us. And of course, we've got the great producer Jess in the fishbowl with us today. And the woman who holds the entire mess together. Jess, we appreciate that so much. You can listen to Raised in Wisco on Saturdays at 11 o'clock on all your Civic media stations and plenty of other places. Are you, Ellie, you're filling in for Danielle. Can you do it?
I got it.
She says where else you can hear it. Where else can you hear it?
Should I say it in French or English?
I would.
It might take me
we don't
10
have till
hours.
tomorrow, so why don't you just
You can
say
listen
in
to it on
English?
Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and civicmedia.us and search for Raised in Wisco.
Yeah,
There
and
you
you
go.
can hear all of our past episodes as well. They are podcasts. And one of the things that's been exciting to me is that many people have been approaching me about the show. They may or may not have known me from other things and the TV stuff I've done. And what's really cool is that listeners in Wisconsin are getting something out of the show that they didn't necessarily think they'd get out of it. A lot of people say, oh, it's probably a hunting show. It's probably a fishing show. This show is for every single Wisconsinite. Not everybody is going to be like producer Jess, who didn't go hunting, didn't know about hunting, didn't think she'd ever be in the field, and ended up on a hunt with us, which was fantastic. And we're going to continue down that road. And now that I have Mike Kretschmerr in the studio with us, Jess, I would like to make another offer to you today.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think we should make another offer.
I know where this is going.
I'll bet you Mike Kretschmer's reading my mind. What should we offer Jess to come along and do?
Let's go ice fishing.
To go ice fishing. It's ice fishing season. We'll make sure we've got safe ice. We'll make sure we've got shanties with heaters. You can
See,
grab.
this is
And
something that I've
snacks.
actually always wanted to do.
Okay. All right. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
Because I like the cold.
Okay.
Yes,
All
I
right.
do
like
I
I
do
do too.
actually genuinely like the cold. I've never gone fishing, but the idea of it has always appealed
What?
to me.
Whoa, slow
Oh.
down. Back up the truck.
Okay,
You've
okay.
never gone fishing?
I've never gone fishing, Joel.
Okay. I am motivated now.
Okay.
I am motivated. Should we call Marty and see if he wants to go with us? Or do you think he'll just find more bones to pick?
Hey, I think Marty will be up in here in a heartbeat.
I think he would. Okay. Mike's literally got his calendar out as
my
we're
God.
speaking.
I love that.
We're going to take producer Jess ice fishing.
Oh, that sounds like a blast.
And I'm gonna do one better. I'm gonna just about guarantee you'll catch a fish through the ice.
Okay.
Because we're gonna take you to a spot that is gonna be replete tons of panfish. And if for those of you out there who aren't ice fisher people or anglers or hunters, the winter in Wisconsin, you can look at it and say there's nothing to do. Well, Ellie's Weekly Wisco was talking about taking a hike in a beautiful park. You can do that. There are so many things to do in Wisconsin. Now we're going to start even having snowmobiling coming, but
Hopefully.
ice fishing is one of those really fun things that's kind of got a very cheap entry level. You can get into it fairly cheap, but you got to usually have somebody who can kind of show you the ropes,
Yeah.
and you want to make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
Absolutely have to make sure you're on safe ice. So now that we are set, we're going to take you ice fishing, and I can just about promise you, because if you take a jig and you put a wax worm on a jig, the simplest form through the ice very, very likely will get you catching
Yes.
fish.
All
And
right.
This weekend is actually the free fishing weekend. So if you're out and about this weekend,
Really?
Ooh.
Yep.
Really?
All right, well, we'll come
Mike, are you
The
saying that you want to take us
18th and
fishing this
19th.
weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Because
looking
I
at
could
my
fish this
calendar here, and I
weekend.
might be able to fish this weekend.
can do
Mike.
it.
Jess, what do you got this weekend? Do you
We'll
need to look
talk
at your
after the
calendar?
show.
All right,
Yeah.
let's talk
Yeah.
after the show.
Guys,
I'm
I'm always ready to
excited.
fish.
That's so exciting. Thanks.
I'm so excited. Are you going to bring your hubby along?
We'll see.
I'd like to see him again. I got to meet him the one time. I'd love to see him again. And when we have Chef Ellie Lawton along, there's almost always food involved. So
That
we
is
brought
true.
some
Hey,
food
Jess,
today.
I caught some bluegills a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I have a whole bag of them to make. So if we go ice fishing, maybe we'll make a fish fry on the ice.
Ooh, and that sound you're making, That's
Yeah.
about the same sound
Yeah.
as the little stove you use to cook the fish when you're out there. But I
Yes.
think there's
Fish,
nothing better.
venison brats. We can just do it all.
You know what? I actually have. I can bring some gator out.
Oh,
we could have some gator.
I still have not had good wild
Fried gator.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to have Joel. Okay, Joel, I'm going to give you another compliment.
Holy
Gosh, you know what?
whoa.
I
This
got to
is
slow
very
down.
There's too
strange.
many in one day.
show?
Very strange.
Joel
Oh my
made
goodness.
gator gyros for us,
Ooh.
and they were phenomenal.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So you need to
All right.
try that
All
because
right.
I
I'm
was
in.
not a gator eater
Yeah.
beforehand, but then he made it. It was really good.
That sounds
Yeah,
great.
they are really good. The gator gyros are really good. But honestly, I just love the gator sautéed. You know, half cornmeal, half flour, salt, pepper, and we're gonna talk
Ooh,
recipes.
some gator
So-
bites.
We are going to talk recipes later in the show because this milanese that Chef Ellie made, it was unreal. We had it at the house. We were doing some provider stuff, some TV stuff with it. My daughter loved it. Everyone who
awesome.
tried it just absolutely loved it. And I
George
can't wait
loved
to
it.
talk George.
Shout out to George.
Shout out to George Ermert from the Wisconsin Waterfowl Association. He ate it. I mean, I could not get enough. It was absolutely delicious. We're going to take you through that recipe. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to also talk about the things to do with wild game that don't have to do with cooking. Everybody, you know, when you hunt, I'm a believer of utilizing every part of every resource. And I know I repeat this a lot on the show, but it is that important. But I think some people say, well, what the hell can you do with the other stuff? The other
Right.
parts of a turkey, the other parts of an alligator, the other parts of a deer. So we're going to talk about some of that. And we've got a little surprise for Jess. We may have
another
brought
surprise for
we have
me?
a little surprise for Jess. We did bring her some food. We brought her some birria tacos from scratch that she's going to have.
excited.
And I've got another surprise for you that has to do not with food, but some other part of an animal that's utilized. So you think on that and tell me if you think when we come back, you can figure out what that is.
And then I love that like it.
Up when the king is doing his jam. Come on.
Something's
love it.
missing then.
Something's
best.
missing. The king is the king for a reason, Elvis Presley. I'm Joel Kleefisch. You can call me Jolvis for the rest of the show.
No,
How about
not
that?
going to happen. No.
Not happening.
That was literally my nickname in college, Jolvis.
Well, I'm
I'm
sure
not
all the
even
people
kidding.
that called you that were drunk.
Elvis.
So
Most likely true. My buddy Jason Lucero, shout out to him. He used to call me Jolvis in his later years.
That's funny.
Ouch.
That's mean.
Hey, I'm working on it. What do you want? I'm working on it. This is the show. If you want to laugh, listen to Raised in Wisco. This is Raised in Wisco. I'm Jolvis Kleefisch. I get to be the host of this menagerie, which is pretty darn exciting. Danielle Fairman is the co-host, and she's off in the Virgin Islands having the time of her life. So Ellie Mae Lawton is filling in. Ellie,
Hello.
great to have you. Mike Kretschmerr, who sits in for me, he's the food guy. He's an ice fishing guy. He's a hunter dude. And, of course, we've got Producer Jess in the fishbowl. Bonjour. Comment allez-vous ce soir?
you officially speak more French than I do, Jess.
And she
What
didn't
app
eat
do you
babble.
use?
Je suis Joël.
I'm a fan of
et
Duolingo.
parce que- do you use Duolingo?
I do.
Oh,
Keep up
yeah,
on
I've heard
Hebrew.
of that one. Yeah.
Maybe I should get. You said you're going to do the entire next show in French, Ellie.
Yep.
Maybe I should get Duolingo and do the whole next show in Spanish, and we can see who
You
does
already
better.
are fluent in Spanish.
Yeah.
So,
Don't.
no.
I'll just
Listen, the assistant does not give away the magician's tricks. Okay,
Yeah.
that is the trick of it. I already know a little bit of.
I will go for proper English.
Well, okay.
I'm not very good
I'm
at
going to
it.
tell you what.
I'm
if
gonna go
we're
for
gonna speak a
Wisconsin
foreign
accent.
language, we're still going to speak better than Mike trying to do proper English.
This is true.
Does that mean like a British accent?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, can you give us an
Trivia.
example?
the
Say
horses-
something. Hey, Mike, I'm going to put you on the
horses
spot.
are
Say
in the
something in proper
stables,
English.
You'll say.
Well, I could
You
like
have your hands crossed.
pronunciate a little bit
Okay,
more
that's
than I
not a
normally do.
word. Pronunciate is not even a
What is it
And
then?
this is now a grammar
Pronounce
show.
or enunciate.
Pronunciate?
No.
We are so
See? I told you I'm working on it for
Jess,
next
I'm
week.
trying to get them back on the track, but it's
Jess
not
is
working.
dying. Jess is dead in the fishbowl.
That's funny.
Can somebody please go check Jess and see if she's still
Producer
alive?
Jess.
She just disappeared out of the window.
Did I
of the
not say I
fishbowl.
would start next week?
It's
Pronunciate.
pronounced.
Pronunciate.
No,
That's not a word for real.
enunciate is a word.
Enunciate.
Je m'appelle
There you
Ellie.
go.
Someone give that man a hand five.
All of the sudden, it got crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when I talk.
Oh, we love you, Mike. Come on.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to need to get Babbel and just select English.
Well, wouldn't that be Babel?
You're going to have to get the English to English translation.
You're gonna be like, what is this?
The mic to common English.
Yeah,
To
right.
make to come.
Chefery down.
Oh my gosh! And that's what I'm sweating. I'm
was
laughing so
funny.
hard. I'm
Oh.
literally
I try.
sweating.
I try.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Just
all.
let me cut meat.
His
and
English
cook
is
food.
way worse than my French.
Wait,
I'm glad you're amused.
except is it worse because you have to have some French for it to be
Hey,
worse?
quiet down over
Hey.
there.
Hi, my name is Mike. There you go. There's English.
Je
Bonjour,
m'appelle
je m'appelle
Ellie.
Joël. How's that? How
Bonjour.
about? Oh my gosh, we're gonna
off the rails.
get to something.
All right.
We're gonna get to something of substance here.
Let's get off of grammar.
One of the things that I hear from non-hunters or people who don't use, who aren't excited about hunting or fishing per se, is they say, well, you are killing an animal, but you're not using that animal to benefit, to all of its benefit. And so something that's become important to me through the years, very important to me, is not just eating. Number one, I always tell everyone I eat what I kill. I do not waste what I kill. I killed a bobcat in Wisconsin and ate the bobcat. All right, now you can make food for pets out of animals
Correct.
that you kill, and that
Yep.
is a great way to use.
Yes.
Is a great way to use game that you harvest. So if you're harvesting, even when we if we crow hunt, we use those crows as fertilizer in farm fields. So there's always a use for the animals that you are harvesting, always. And then people ask very often, well, what do you do with the carcass? The carcass of an animal, in many cases, is extremely valuable.
Ooh, yeah.
But that's what takes a lot of extra effort. That's where people don't put the effort in. Well, what do you do with a turkey? I mean, for example, what do you do with a turkey? Some of the best projects, and I would encourage anybody out there who turkey hunts for the first time, some of the best projects you will ever do with your children, with your nieces, with your nephews, you can take the parts of the turkey, the hooks from the turkey's leg, and you can just, with a simple hacksaw, you can cut those off and make a necklace out of them. I've
Correct.
made necklaces out of turkey hooks before. The beards and the fans are beautiful. The fans, the turkey feathers are incredible. I've seen
The
Go ahead.
wings.
the wings
Yeah.
are beautiful.
Oh my gosh,
I know
yeah.
people that they make actual turkey calls out of the turkey wing bones.
Oh, for sure. I have
So
one of
cool.
those.
And then people take the big feathers and they actually paint scenes on the
Yeah.
feathers. Have you seen
They're
that?
so
they're
beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
I mean, it's definitely talent.
I've seen tables made with turkey fans before.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like something really cool. One of the things that I did when I was in the legislature, I had a pen at my desk that was a turkey wing feather. And then I took the I took the inside of a pen and carved it into the turkey wing feather. So I
cool.
would sign the things at my desk with a turkey wing feather.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's lovely.
It
I
was
like that.
really neat. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really cool. And then I went a step further and I had a fountain pen inserted into one of the fan feathers. And then I used that fountain pen as well. So don't ever cease to think, to be creative. And you know what? We got this crazy old internet thing. You can go right on there and 8 million people will tell you 1,000 ideas they have for what you can do with, and that's a wild turkey.
Yeah.
There's less to use on a wild turkey than most animals. Deer. I've got deer skin gloves I've had made in the past. I'm going to Butch Ledoux at Ledoux Leather right in Muskego, Wisconsin will take any of your leather goods and turn it into whatever you want. And that's the part I'm excited about. Jess, can you set down your headphones and come out of the fishbowl into the main studio for a minute? Can you do that while we're running? We're right in the middle. Can you come on in here?
Okay.
I have
Join us.
join us in the studio because one of the coolest things I think is alligator hide. When you have alligator hide and you have it tans very much like any other leather. So, Jess, now I happen to have noticed, and I could be wrong on this, but I think and I'll be the first person to say never try to guess somebody else's fashion. Right?
Yeah.
Here, come on over on this mic. Share this mic with me, Jess, for a minute. I'm the first person to say never try to guess somebody's fashion. But I had something made by Butch in Muskego out of gator hide that I'm going to give you. Now, you can tell me right off the bat if you don't like it and you wouldn't wear it, but I think it turned out pretty cool. So I had this alligator bracelet made for you with
It's so
got, I
awesome.
think it's got a buffalo head nickel in the middle of it.
Yeah. Joel, this is gorgeous. You said this is alligator hide?
Yeah, it's all alligator hide. Even the sides of it are made so that this alligator hide that's called cognac color, and it's tanned in that color. And even these rings on the side are also made from alligator hide that I harvested. And
So
because of your
cool.
new interest in hunting and even in the outdoors, I wanted to show you something that we make from the hide of the alligator. We don't just eat the meat; we make something from the hide.
Joel, this is gorgeous.
I'm so excited. You actually like it?
It's going to look so good on you.
Okay, because I also made you another bracelet here out of alligator hide. And you and your husband, you can both, I mean, that's more your style even?
Yeah.
Because those are both unisex. You can both, you can trade, have them with your husband, or you can just keep them to look at and see how cool they are.
I gave him the stamp of approval.
Y'all, this man is just, he's very generous. These are gorgeous.
Well,
I'm going back to my fishbowl,
all right, go. She's going back
She's
to the
going to
fishbowl.
go to the fishbowl and enjoy her new gifts.
The part that I'm talking, there's nothing more exciting to me than making stuff out of stuff that I kill and then giving it to
Sharing
people.
it. Yep.
So
And
awesome.
I mean, I have people who have got like gator bracelets and stuff on from years ago.
Yeah.
And I will run into them around town. They're
Yeah.
still wearing their
That's
gator
awesome.
bracelets and things like that. And Butch does such a cool job. He's got buffalo nickels in some of the stuff. And it's just really cool. It's so fun to do stuff.
It's beautiful.
Especially right now, this time of year, if you're not into actually hunting, if you're not into fishing, you can get into, on your hikes when, like you said, you were just did this weekend, but you can get into shed hunting. That gets
Yeah.
people out
Ooh.
into the work.
Why don't you
shed
explain what
hunting.
shed hunting
so
is, Mike?
Shed hunting is it's a hobby, and you put on a lot of hiking miles, and you in the woods, you're chasing deer antlers, which fall off.
Okay, first of all, I don't think most people, or I think there's probably a portion of people who don't realize a deer's, and I'm not saying plural deers, so don't correct me on my grammar there. A deer's antlers fall off
Yes.
every year. They fall off into the woods.
Difference between an antler and a horn.
There is a different. That's right. Horns continually grow antlers.
And you know what's? It's pretty crazy as a hunter. there are deer that lose their antlers in December.
Yeah.
And there's also deer that hang on to them till like literally could be the end of March, beginning
Last
of
year
April.
was a great example of that because I saw bucks. God, I think it was like beginning of May.
Yeah.
They still were hanging
Yeah, like
on.
almost, it's crazy. And then I've heard of stories, people shooting a nice buck, running off, and they have to backtrack to find the antler that after it fell off.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
That's crazy. to
And
me.
then even more interesting than that is when people find antlers
Yep.
from previous years and then harvest the deer, and they
Yeah.
have previous sets of antlers that have gotten bigger every year
Yep.
as time goes on, and it's just pretty cool. There's so much to do, and this is also, I'd be remiss to say if this isn't this is the time to plan
Yeah.
for next year as well.
Right. Yes, people are out there learning the bedding areas, and that's when you're finding these sheds. And I've seen guys that find sheds that are giant sheds. They've literally made cribbage boards out of the antlers.
Oh,
So
for sure.
cool.
Like
Lamps,
on-
cribbage
yes.
boards, tables,
Yeah.
chandeliers,
yep.
jewelry.
Yep.
I love making stuff out of the remains of the animal that are not the food. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the food. Obviously, that's really equal reason that I hunt and fish is for the
Right.
food.
The fat guy that I am, I've done enough of walking in the spring, turkey hunting and stuff. I never find them.
Really?
You never.
Yes, I
I'm not
never
a big
find-
antler
I usually
finder
find 'em.
either.
I know guys that'll
I
put
don't
on
find morels
right,
either.
Ooh.
miles, and then
Yeah,
one
you
day
just
they
have
find
to
6,
walk.
8 of them. Yeah, you just gotta walk.
Just keep walking. Or I do it on horseback.
Yeah, that's
Well,
cool.
okay.
I mean,
That's
there's people
gotta
that
be
go
Which
way
is
west.
super
easier
fun.
to do it on
It's
horseback.
Not always easier. You gotta get up and down. Get off your horse.
And another
work.
thing about what makes this kind of thing so great is you've got your hunting seasons and where you're harvesting your animals, and then there is a period of time where that stuff takes a couple months to get tanned.
Mm-hmm.
And I would highly encourage you to tan a deer hide. You'll
Yes.
be really blown away with how much you can do with it, with the hair on or without. You can make so many leather goods out of it, and then you have the time outside of the hunting seasons to make the crafts,
Right.
to make and not just crafts, but things that are even necessities. Oh,
You get out and you got to find, you go out and look. But that was this weekend. My buddy up north.
wow. He
They're
found
out-
two
yes,
deer who
2 lock.
tangled
Oh,
This
locked
was
wow.
together.
recent
Oh,
weeks.
my gosh.
Yeah.
And that type of thing happens.
Big deer.
I can't wait to talk about food. We're going to talk about food and some of the recaps of this past season of the good dishes we've been eating, and Ellie Mae Lawton. Kick rolling in the deep.
Yeah, we're here.
I just made a reference, like an Adele reference. Did you know
That's
that?
a great song.
Yeah.
I haven't
It is a good
heard
song.
that in a
Adele
very
is
long time.
phenomenal. Producer Jess is rocking out with us to some Elvis for the show.
I love
how do you
Elvis.
go wrong with Elvis
You
for real?
can't.
You really
you
can't.
really can't.
You really can't. There was a period in like the 90s, the early mid 90s or late 80s where people made fun of Elvis.
It was a dark time.
It was
Those people, you know what?
it
Those
was a
people.
dark time. They just don't understand.
They don't
That's all there really is
understand
to it.
happiness.
I mean, Elvis is the man.
He
Raised in
really is.
Wisco's, your show, your one-stop shop for everything that is the great outdoors of the great state of Wisconsin. And of course, I mean, hey, just look at me. I love to eat. Food's my favorite dish, and cooking wild game and store-purchased meat and game is really on one of the top of my lists as far as amazing things to do. That's why every week we talk about recipes here on the Raised in Wisco. And Chef Ellie Lawton, that is her official title now, Chef. I mean,
Ooh,
I think
it's official?
I think so.
Okay,
Jess, what do you
good.
think? I mean, Jess is the
Absolutely.
boss. We got to run it by her.
Chef Ellie.
Jess, I'm up to
Chef-a-ree.
like a
That sounds
dozen
good.
nicknames now, so it is hard to keep track.
Is Chef French?
I'll ask Babel later.
You're gonna have to spend some time on that Babel machine.
Remember, we all have to come back with a sentence about food, hunting, cooking, something in a foreign language.
Foreign language.
I will be clearing all my nights and weekends for the next week.
I think I might do mine in Croatian. I think that would be
All
kind of
right.
fun.
All
We'll
right.
see. But we
Let's
have to
talk
have it
about the
memorized. No,
recipe.
just Google Translate, all right? Yes, look, if you have a tenderloin of beef, of elk, of deer, of whitetail deer, if you have a tenderloin whatsoever, this is a recipe you have to make. You can bend it into whatever ethnic food you'd like it to be. But I want to talk about Chef Ellie made a venison milanese, which is now, is that Italian? Is Milanese an Italian? Milanese?
Yeah,
I think that's
from-
Italian.
Yeah, from Milan.
Talk to me about what this was, because this turned out unbelievable.
So Milanese, super classic dish, right? It's been around forever. We just put kind of a wild spin on it. We used venison chops. So what I did is I soaked the venison chops. I think there was like 6 of them we did. In buttermilk and some provider spices for 12 hours. That removes a little bit of the gaminess. Before that, I did tenderize them as well. So they were so tender. Oh my gosh, they were so good. And then we breaded them. So we did flour and then an egg wash and then finished them in panko breadcrumbs that we added some of the provider spices to.
When you talk about a panko breadcrumb, what makes that different from like an Italian breadcrumb? What is a panko
I mean,
breadcrumb?
the panko breadcrumbs aren't typically seasoned at all.
Okay.
I mean, but it just
They're a little lighter, right?
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
lighter.
They're like fluffier.
They get crunchier.
Yeah.
They're not as
Okay.
heavy. They don't really retain much of the grease, which is nice. So we did that, and then we pan fried them in cast iron skillet. And then, we also made a cilantro lime crema. So basically just a thin sour cream. Don't get scared by a fancy
my
word like
gosh.
crema.
I think when it comes to cooking, and I think one of the things that you're good at teaching people is that just because something sounds fancy, it does not mean it's difficult to make.
No, I mean, the crema we made, Joel, that took us 30 seconds. I mean, it was cilantro, lime, some lime juice, half an avocado, sour cream, a little buttermilk, salt, and hit power. And it was done.
Oh,
It was
gosh.
it was so
You gotta
good. So
try it.
Mike, we put that underneath the meat, and then we topped it with a quick pickled red onion.
Ooh.
And then we
I love that
also
stuff.
it doesn't end there. We also made sweet potato mash, and we used some Wisconsin maple syrup. And what else did we put in there?
And you forgot my
Provider
phone number.
spices. And then I made
We were doing these.
homemade
This was for
garlic
TV,
butter.
Mike. We were doing a cooking segment for TV, and I'm
Nice.
telling you, and I thought, I did not know how I was going to boil this down to a minute and a half.
Yeah.
But Chef Ellie does it in such literally simple fashion that you could be you could be me and follow this recipe, and it was
Don't kid yourself,
absolutely
Joel.
phenomenal.
You've made some of the best stuff I've had.
Right?
Okay.
I tell him all the time. He is a chef.
I'm
Right.
a cook.
What?
I'm a 3-ingredient cook.
No.
I should write
Lots
a
of oil.
3-ingredient cookbook.
You know what? I'm not giving you any more compliments tonight.
Hey,
Forget it.
what's your favorite
Reach the
cut
maximum.
of beef? This is a fun conversation for people.
Ooh,
Real quick.
okay,
off the
so,
top of your head. One cut off the top of your head.
New York strip.
Ribeye.
I'm a ribeye guy too.
Ribeye.
So I made
I like
New York
dry aged.
strips last weekend when we were up north, and we were on a infrared grill, which I don't know. It still had.
Yeah,
I don't
tell us
know.
about
He
that.
says it's a
The
fancy
show's
infrared
almost
grill.
over.
Yeah.
Tell me about the infrared.
I don't know.
How does
It
that
looked-
matter? Does
I
it
don't
matter?
know. I don't think it mattered, but it made phenomenal steaks. So I got a
Well,
little
maybe
more
it did
into
matter
it.
then.
It was a gas grill, but it was like infrared. They had plates over the top of the flames that I don't know what it did. I got to research, but
Okay, listen. Now that's your job. You can
Yes.
skip having a sentence in a
What-
foreign language.
yeah.
I want to know about this
Whoa.
infrared
No,
stuff.
he still needs to come back with
I'll
proper
do both.
English.
Maybe
Proper.
proper English.
You still have to come back able to pronunciate something. He's looking up. He's got 16 different phones. He's trying to look. He's got alarms going off.
there's all
Oh my
kinds of stuff
goodness,
going
you're
on.
all a mess.
I'm not.
Yeah,
That is
well,
right. Well, you know,
that Producer Jess is why we have you in the fishbowl to keep
Yeah.
it all together.
I do my
And
best.
when you listen to Raised in Wisco, you're not only going to learn about how fantastic the outdoors are, you're going to learn about what Wisconsin's outdoors provide for you to take home with you, to use in your home, to use outside your home, and what to put on your dinner table. And that is what makes this show unique. And that is what makes our listeners unique. And that's what makes our guests unique. On Raised in Wisco, we focus on what to do in the outdoors and how to use it after you use the outdoors. And that's why I love doing this show and we love having you along. Thank you so much for listening to Raised in Wisco. And I'm going to tell you something else. Next week, we're coming back and we're going to have some sentences in a foreign language. But more than that, we're going to talk more about food. We're going to talk about what you need to do to prep in the off season to make your next season great. And we're planning an ice fishing trip with
Yeah.
Producer Jess,
Hopefully we'll
which
start.
we may
excited.
even squeeze in
This week.
before next week's
Yep.
show, which
I have
I'm
a
really
French word to
excited
say.
about. Let's hear it.
Au revoir.
Au revoir from Raised in Wisco. I'm Joel Kleefisch for Ellie Lawton, Mike Kretschmerr, and Danielle.